Dust tastes like copper and regret. Elena presses her tongue against the roof of her mouth, trying to force saliva into existence, but there's nothing left. The wagon wheels creak behind her, a rhythm she's learned to hate over the past 11 days. 11 days translating fear into both directions. 11 days pretending she doesn't understand the Apache words drifting on the wind when the scouts pass too close. 11 days hiding half of who she is. She rides slightly ahead of the main column, close enough to the captain to be called upon, far enough from the soldiers to avoid their questions. They trust her because she's useful. They tolerate her because translation is the difference between safe passage and losing their way in territory that swallows men whole. But trust has limits. She learned that young. Her mother's face comes to her sometimes in the heat shimmer rising from the red earth. Not the way she looked at the end, thin and silent in the Spanish mission where she died when Elena was 12, but the way she looked before. Strong, Apache, belonging somewhere. Elena belongs nowhere. Captain Morrison raises his hand. The column stops. 43 people, 18 soldiers, 19 settlers including women and children, 4 supply wagons, 2 scouts, and Elena. She's counted them so many times, she knows their breathing patterns at night. The settlers are heading to a new town being established near the Gila River. Most of them are families who lost everything back east. Fire, flood, debt, war. They carry their damage quietly, sewn into the hems of their clothes, hidden in the false bottoms of their hope. "Miss Alvarez," the captain calls. His voice is dry, cracked like the land itself. "Come here, please." She guides her horse forward. The animal is tired. Everything is tired. Morrison points to the horizon where the land drops away into a shallow valley. Smoke. Been watching it for the past half hour. Not wildfire. Controlled. Camp, maybe. Elena shields her eyes. She can see it too. Thin, grey, purposeful. Her heart begins to hammer against her ribs in a way that has nothing to do with the heat. Could be travelers, she offers, keeping her voice steady. Traders, maybe. Could be, Morrison says. He doesn't believe it, neither does she. Lieutenant Harding rides up beside them. He's young, 24 at most, with sunburn peeling across his nose and an eagerness that makes him dangerous. "Sir, we should scout it before committing the wagons. Could be an ambush position." "Could be water," Morrison counters. "We're down to less than 2 days' supply. In this heat, with the children, that's cutting it too close." Eleanor says nothing. She learned early that silence is its own kind of translation. Morrison makes his decision with the tired efficiency of a man who's made too many. We approach slowly. Miss Alvarez stays close to me. "Harding, keep the wagons back until I signal. If things go wrong, you get those families out. Don't wait for us." "Yes, sir." They move forward. Eleanor, Morrison, and 4 soldiers. The rest of the column holds position, a small cluster of vulnerability on the open plain. She can feel their fear from here. Sight smells like sweat and rust and prayers whispered into bonnets and bandanas. As they descend into the valley, details emerge. Not one camp, several, maybe 15, 20 shelters. Brush structures, simple and temporary. Horses grazing nearby, thin but alert. And people. Apache. Men, women, children, elders. They've already seen the approaching soldiers. They stand watching, not scrambling, not hiding. Waiting. Elena's throat closes. She knows this group. Not these specific people, not all of them, but she knows the patterns of their movement, the way they position their camps, the shape of the shelters. This is a family group, displaced, moving between seasonal grounds that are no longer safely theirs. Her mother's people moved like this, before the mission, before the sickness, before Elena learned to bury half her blood beneath a Spanish name and English words. "Easy now," Morrison murmurs, more to himself than to anyone else. His hand rests on his sidearm but doesn't draw it. He's frightened, but he's not stupid. Stupid men don't live long enough to become captains out here. An older man steps forward from the Apache group. He's perhaps 50, lean and weathered, with grey threading through his hair. He raises one hand palm forward, a gesture older than borders. I mean no harm. Elena feels something crack inside her chest. "Miss Alvarez," Morrison says quietly. "Ask him who leads here." She opens her mouth. The Apache words are there, buried but not forgotten, her mother's language sleeping in her throat like seeds waiting for rain. But she hesitates. If she speaks Apache too well, they'll wonder. If she speaks it poorly, the Apache will know she's pretending. There's no safe way to be what she is. She chooses careful, slightly formal Apache, the kind a trader's daughter might learn. "We come looking for water. Our people are thirsty. Children are with us." "Who speaks for your group?" The older man's eyes shift to her with an intensity that makes her skin prickle. He studies her face, her posture, the way she sits her horse. Then he responds in Apache, his voice carrying across the space between them. "I am called Natside. We have water enough to share. But why do soldiers travel with families? Are you running from something, or running toward it?" Elena translates for Morrison, softening it. He says his name is Natside. They have water. He asks why we travel this route. Morrison considers. "Tell him we're escorting settlers to new land near the Gila. Tell him we mean no trouble. We only need water, and then we'll move on." Elena translates. As she speaks, she sees a woman among the Apache group move slightly forward. The woman is perhaps 40, with strong features and silver-streaked hair braided with red cloth. She's staring at Elena with an expression that makes Elena want to dig her heels into her horse and run. The woman knows. Elena can see it in her eyes. Recognition, not of Elena's face but of something deeper. Blood, bone, the shape of a jaw, the set of shoulders, something carried in the body that no amount of hiding can erase. Natside speaks again. "Bring your people. We will share water and food. The day is hot. Tonight will be cold. If your families need rest, they may camp here safely." Elena translates, watching Morrison's face. He's suspicious, as he should be. Hospitality can be strategy. But he's also practical. The water situation is desperate and the settlers are exhausted. 3 of the children developed fever 2 days ago. Mrs. Brennan's baby cries constantly now, a thin wail that cuts through the nights like something dying slowly. "Tell him we accept with gratitude," Morrison says finally. "Tell him we'll camp at a respectful distance. Tell him we have dried meat we can share in return." The translation is made. Natside nods. And then the woman with the silver-streaked hair speaks directly to Elena in Apache, her voice clear and unmistakable. "You have your mother's eyes. I wondered if I would ever see you again, Nalin." Nalin. Her Apache name. The name her mother called her before the mission, before the Spanish priests, before she became Elena. She hasn't heard it in 7 years. It falls on her like a stone, heavy and undeniable. Elena's hands tighten on the reins. She doesn't translate. She doesn't speak. She simply stares at the woman, and the woman stares back. And in that silence, everything Elena has built begins to crack. Morrison notices. "Miss Alvarez." What did she say? Elena forces her voice to work. She welcomes us. She says the water is clean. It's a lie. The first of many she'll have to tell before this is over. If it ends, if she survives it. They bring the wagons down. The settlers are nervous, gripping their children close, but thirst and exhaustion override fear. The Apache keep their distance, respectful but watchful. Natside directs them to a clear area near a small spring that bubbles up between rocks. The water is cold, clean, impossible, a miracle neither side will name. Elena helps organize the camp, translating practical things, where to water the horses, where the soldiers should position themselves, polite distances, careful neutrality, but her eyes keep finding the woman. Ishta, her mother's younger sister, her aunt. The last person who might remember her mother's laugh, her songs, the stories she told under stars before the world became borders and bullets and belonging nowhere. As the sun begins its descent, turning the sky orange and purple like a bruise healing backward, Ishta approaches. She carries something wrapped in cloth. Elena is standing near the supply wagon, pretending to check inventory, actually trying to breathe. "Nalin." Ishtar says quietly. Not a question, a statement of fact. My name is Elena, she replies in English, not looking up. Ishtar switches to Spanish, accommodating. Names change. Blood does not. Blood is dangerous. Blood is all we have. Elena finally meets her eyes. Up close, the resemblance to her mother is staggering. The same high cheekbones, the same slight scar above the left eyebrow from a childhood accident Elena heard about in stories. Looking at Ishtar is like looking at a ghost wearing skin. Why did you leave? Ishtar asks. The question is simple. The answer is not. She died, Elena says. Mama died in the mission. The priest said I could stay, learn English, learn to read. They said I could have a future. And did they give you one? Elena's laugh is bitter. They gave me a language, I gave myself a future, I learned to translate. People pay for that. And what did you pay? The question hangs between them like smoke. Everything. She paid everything. Ishtar unwraps the cloth she's carrying. Inside are flatbreads, cornmeal cakes, still warm. Pancakes de millo, as the Spanish call them. Simple, soft, made with care. I made these for the children in your group, the little ones with fever. Corn is gentle on sick stomachs. There is also tea, herbs for fever, honey from the mesquite blooms. Elena stares at the food. This is not strategy. This is not politics. This is something older. Care. The kind that crosses borders because hunger and sickness don't ask permission before they destroy. Why? Elena whispers. Because they are children, Ishtar says simply. Because your mother would have done the same. Because kindness is not weakness, even when the world insists it is. Elena takes the wrapped food. Her hands are shaking. They don't know. The soldiers, the settlers, they don't know about my mother. I know, Ishtar says. I saw it in your face when you spoke. You hide well. You had to learn, I think. If they find out, then we will worry when they find out. For now, feed the children. Let them drink the tea. Worry about tomorrow when the sun rises. Ishtar turns to go, then pauses. We camp here only 2 more days. Then we move north into the mountains. It's not safe to stay longer. Your soldiers make people nervous. Other groups, I mean. Young warriors who don't remember when there was less anger. We stay because Nazi Day is wise and believes peace is still possible. But not everyone agrees. It's a warning. Gentle, but clear. Elena nods. Ishtar walks away, back toward the Apache shelters where fires are beginning to glow in the deepening dusk. Elena stands holding the warm cornbreads and feels something shift inside her chest. Not loyalty, not betrayal. Something more complicated. Recognition, maybe. Of humanity on both sides of a divide that should never have existed but does, permanent as scars. She brings the food to the settlers. Mrs. Brennan's baby stops crying after drinking the tea. The 3 children with fever eat the cornbread slowly, carefully, and keep it down. The mothers cry quiet tears of relief. They don't ask where the food came from. Maybe they don't want to know. Maybe gratitude is easier without details. Lieutenant Harding watches her with suspicion. Where'd you get that? They offered it, Eleanor says, for the children, medicine tea. And you trust it. She meets his eyes. Would you rather watch them die of fever because you're too afraid to accept help? He backs down, but the suspicion remains. It always does. That night, both camps settle into wary rest. The Apaches sing evening songs, low and rhythmic, carrying across the distance. Some of the settlers listen, unnerved by the beauty of it. Morrison posts guards but tells them to stay calm. No one fires unless fired upon. We're guests here, whether we like it or not. Eleanor lies awake under the wagon, staring at stars that don't care about borders. She can hear both camps breathing, 2 rhythms that should harmonize but don't. Can't, won't. Sleep comes eventually, thin and troubled. The next morning brings an unexpected complication. One of the settler men, a farmer named Douglas, who lost his land to drought, approaches Morrison with a problem. His daughter, barely 7, wandered near the Apache camp at dawn and now won't come back. She's sitting with a group of Apache children, watching them weave grass into small dolls. You need to get her, Douglas says, voice tight with fear. Right now, Morrison sighs. Miss Alvarez. They walk over together. The scene is painfully innocent. 5 children, Apache and white, sitting in the morning sun, laughing softly as they twist grass and teach each other games that require no shared language. The Apache mothers watch from nearby, smiling. One offers the white girl a cornbread. The girl takes it, delighted. "Sarah," Douglas calls, "come here now." The girl looks up, confused. "But Papa, they're teaching me. Now." The Apache children sense the tension. They stop playing. The mothers stop smiling. The moment freezes, fragile as ice. Eleanor crouches down to the girl's level. "Sarah, your papa's worried. He wants you close. Maybe you can play more later if everyone agrees. But for now, let's go back, okay?" The girl pouts, but obeys. As they walk back, Eleanor hears one of the Apache mothers speak softly. The little ones don't know yet. They still think people are just people. It breaks something in Eleanor's chest. The day passes in careful choreography. Water is shared. The settlers wash clothes in the spring. The Apache hunters return with 2 rabbits, which they cook and offer portions to the soldiers. Morrison accepts, reciprocating with dried beef. It's not friendship, it's survival. But in the spaces between fear, something else emerges. Nods of acknowledgement. A settler woman helps an Apache elder carry water. A soldier shares tobacco with a younger warrior, both men smoking in silence, finding something like understanding in the quiet. Helena translates everything. Practical questions about routes, water sources ahead, where other groups have been seen. She's a bridge, but bridges get walked on from both directions. She can feel the weight of it accumulating in her bones. That evening, Ishtar finds her again. This time she brings tea for Eleanor. They sit together near the edge of camp, in the neutral space where neither group fully claims territory. "Your mother used to sit like that," Ishtar says. "One knee up, arms wrapped around it, watching everything." "I don't remember much," Eleanor admits. "I was young. She loved you fiercely. When the sickness came, she made me promise. If she didn't survive, I was to find you. But the mission wouldn't let me take you. Said you were being civilized." The word drips with bitterness. "I tried 3 times. After that, soldiers came. I had to stop trying." Eleanor feels tears building, but won't let them fall. "I thought no one cared. I thought she left me there because I wasn't enough." "Oh, child," Ishtar breathes. "You were everything. She died speaking your name." The tears come then, hot and unstoppable. Ishtar doesn't touch her, doesn't try to comfort physically. She just sits beside her, present, holding space for grief that's 7 years old and still bleeding. "Why did you give me cornbread?" Elena finally asks. "Why risk showing kindness?" "Because cruelty is easy," Ishtar says. "The world has enough of it. Kindness requires bravery. Your mother was brave, so I try to be." They sit in silence as the stars emerge. Somewhere behind them, a settler child laughs. Somewhere ahead, an Apache elder tells a story that makes the young ones gasp with delight. For a moment, a single fragile moment, the world is just people under the same sky, held by the same earth, temporary and precious. But moments end. The 3rd morning, everything changes. A group of soldiers arrives from the east. Not part of Morrison's company. A different unit led by a major named Talbot. 12 men armed, riding hard. They're chasing someone. Elena learns this from overheard conversations before Morrison even calls for her. Talbot is a rigid man with a face like carved stone and eyes that see enemies in every shadow. He regards the Apache camp with immediate hostility. "Captain Morrison," he says, barely dismounting before launching into accusation. "What in God's name are you doing camped beside hostiles?" "We needed water, Major. They offered hospitality. We're leaving today." "Hospitality?" Talbot's laugh is sharp. "These people attacked a ranch 4 days north of here, killed 2 men, stole horses and supplies. I've been tracking them." The air turns to ice. Morrison's face goes carefully blank. "Are you certain it was this group?" "Apache are Apache, Captain. You know that. Harboring them makes you complicit." Elena's stomach drops. She looks toward the Apache camp. Nazi Day is already standing, reading the situation from body language alone. He begins speaking to his people quickly. Families start gathering their things with practiced efficiency. They've done this before. They know how fast peace can shatter. "Major," Morrison says carefully, "these people have women and children, elders. They shared food and water with us. If another group committed those attacks, don't be naive. I have orders to detain any Apache groups in this region for questioning. You'll assist me or I'll report your obstruction." Harding steps forward, hand on his weapon. Several of the other soldiers in Morrison's company do the same. The settlers scramble to pull their children close to the wagons. Everything is dominoes falling, unstoppable. Elena moves without thinking. She steps between Talbot's men and the Apache camp. "Major, please, let me speak with them." "They'll come peacefully if you don't come in with force. There are children—" "Step aside, girl," Talbot snaps. "This isn't your concern." "She's our translator," Morrison says firmly. "She is absolutely my concern. Miss Alvarez, tell them to gather the men. We'll sort this out without violence." But Elena sees Ishtar. She sees the younger warriors already moving to defensive positions. She sees the mothers pushing children behind them. She sees 7 years of grief and hiding and belonging nowhere collide into a single impossible choice. She could translate what Morrison said. Peaceful surrender. Questioning. Maybe release. Maybe prison. Maybe execution, depending on Talbot's whim. Or she could translate something else. Her voice comes out in Apache, loud and clear. "They're coming for you. The Major believes you attacked a ranch. He has orders. If you run now, north into the rocks, you have minutes before they organize. Take the children and go." Dead silence. Morrison's face goes white. "What did you tell them?" Natside looks at Elena for a long moment. Not with gratitude, with something heavier, understanding. He nods once. Then he raises his voice, and the Apache camp explodes into motion. Not panic, strategy. The women and children move first, north toward rocky terrain where horses struggle. The men follow, providing cover, melting into landscape they know intimately. Talbot roars. "Stop them! Morrison, control your people!" But Morrison is staring at Elena. "What have you done?" "What you couldn't," she says quietly. "What was right?" Talbot's men move to pursue, but Morrison blocks them with his own soldiers. "Stand down! You'll start a war." "The war never ended, Captain," Talbot shouts, "and your translator just chose a side." The Major whirls on Elena. "You're under arrest." "Aiding enemies of the United States, obstruction, treason." "She's not military," Morrison interrupts. "You have no authority over her." "Then she's a criminal. I'll have her charged in territorial court. Seize her." 2 of Talbot's men grab Elena's arms. She doesn't fight. She watches the Apache disappear into the rocks, watches Ishtar glance back once before vanishing, watches the space where her mother's sister stood become empty air. The settlers are panicking now. Families demanding to know what's happening, whether they're safe, whether the Apache will come back with reinforcements. Morrison is shouting orders, trying to restore calm. Harding is staring at Elena like she's something diseased. "You lied to us," he says. "All this time. You're one of them." "I'm one of everyone," Elena says. "That's the problem." They tie her hands, not gently. Talbot is already organizing a pursuit party, but Morrison refuses to let his soldiers join. "My orders were to escort these families safely. That's what I'm going to do. You want to chase ghosts into rocks, Major. You do it without us." "I'll have your commission for this, Morrison. Get in line." Talbot takes 6 of his men and rides north. The other 6 stay to guard Elena and ensure Morrison's company doesn't interfere further. The settlers are desperate to leave now, convinced they're in danger. Morrison organizes the wagons, moving with exhausted efficiency. Misses. Brennan approaches before they depart. Her baby is healthy, fever gone, sleeping peacefully against her shoulder. She looks at Elena with an expression too complicated to name. "That tea saved my son's life. Whatever else you are, whatever you did, I won't forget that." It's not forgiveness, it's not condemnation, it's acknowledgement. Small, but it's something. They travel east for 2 days. Elena rides in one of the wagons, hands still bound, guarded constantly. The settlers won't look at her. The soldiers won't speak to her except Harding, who takes every opportunity to make his contempt known. "You think you're noble?" he hisses during a rest stop. "You think you saved them? All you did was make things worse. When Talbot catches them, and he will, it'll be harder. They'll be labeled hostile for running. Children will die because of you." Maybe he's right. Elena doesn't know. She only knows that in that moment, when Talbot's certainty filled the air like poison, she couldn't be the bridge anymore. She couldn't translate violence. She had to choose, and she chose blood over duty, heart over safety, her mother's memory over her own survival. On the third day, they reach the territorial outpost. It's a rough collection of buildings serving as military administration, court, jail, and supply depot. Morrison delivers Elena to the marshal with a report so carefully worded, it says everything and nothing. The marshal is an old man named Caudle, who's seen too much and believes too little. He reads Morrison's report, looks at Elena, sighs deeply. "Girl, you've complicated your life considerably." "Yes, sir." "You understand you'll stand trial? Territorial judge comes through once a month. You'll wait in holding until then." "Yes, sir." "And if you're found guilty of aiding hostile forces, the sentence could be severe, prison hard labor, possibly execution, depending on how the judge feels about Apache sympathizers this month." Elena nods. She has no words left. Cordell has her placed in a small holding cell. It's not cruel, a cot, a blanket, water, simple food. She's not a criminal to them. She's just a problem they don't know how to solve. Morrison visits before he leaves. He stands outside the bars, hat in his hands, looking older than he did 3 days ago. "I can't help you, Miss Alvarez. I want you to know that. If I could, I would. But I don't have that kind of influence." "I know," Elena says. "I don't expect you to." "Why did you do it?" he asks. "You had to know what would happen." She considers how to explain to a man who's never been split in half by his own blood. Because some choices aren't about consequences. They're about being able to live with yourself after. I couldn't live with translating their capture. Morrison nods slowly. "Your mother, she was Apache." "Yes." "And the woman who gave us the cornbread. She knew you." "My aunt." He's quiet for a long time. Finally, he says, "For what it's worth, my children grew up healthy because I was gone fighting. They have a father who survived because other men died. Nothing out here is clean, Miss Alvarez. Nothing. We all just try to live with the stains." He leaves. The settlers leave. The outpost returns to its mundane routine of managing an empire that pretends its destiny. Eleanor sits on the cot and waits. Days become a week becomes 2. She learns the rhythm of the holding cell, the sounds of the outpost, the bored conversations of guards who forget she can hear them. She learns that Talbot never caught the Apache group. They vanished into mountains, as if they'd never existed. She learns that there was no ranch attack. Talbot made it up, trying to justify a sweep of the territory. The guards laugh about it. Just another officer chasing ghosts and glory. She doesn't know if she should feel relief or rage. 3 weeks after her arrest, something unexpected happens. The marshal opens her cell personally. "You have a visitor. Someone vouched for you. Posted bond, convinced the judge that holding you serves no purpose. You're being released under supervision." Elena walks out into the sun, blinking. Standing near the marshal's office is a woman, not Apache, not white. Mestiza, like Elena. Older, maybe 45, dressed practically in traveling clothes, with intelligent eyes and a no-nonsense expression. "My name is Rosa Delgado," the woman says in Spanish. "I run a trading post 70 miles south of here. I need a translator, someone who speaks Apache, Spanish, and English, someone who understands both sides. Someone who's proven they have a conscience even when it costs them." Elena stares. "You paid my bond. Why?" "Because translators like you are rare," Rosa says, "and because the marshal owed me a favor, and because I heard what you did, and I thought, that's someone I could work with. Someone who wouldn't sell out either side for profit. I don't even know you." "No, but I know people who know your aunt. Word travels. They say you saved children by letting others go. They say you chose honor over safety. That's rare. So I'm offering you work, fair pay, a place to sleep, a chance to belong somewhere without having to cut yourself in half to fit." Elena feels something crack open inside her chest. Not hope exactly. Something more fragile. Possibility. What if I mess up again? She asks. What if I make the wrong choice? Rosa smiles, tired but genuine. Then you'll be human, like the rest of us. That's all any of us can manage out here. Being human and trying to do better tomorrow than we did today. Elena takes a breath. The sun is warm. The air smells like dust and sage and something that might be future. She's still split, still carrying two worlds that don't fit together, still belonging nowhere completely. But maybe nowhere is a place too. Maybe being the bridge is its own kind of home. Okay, she says. I'll come. They ride south together as the sun climbs higher. Behind them, the outpost fades. Ahead, the land stretches open and impossible. Somewhere in mountains she can't see, Ishtar is alive. The children are alive. The choice Elena made cost her everything familiar and gave her nothing certain. But when she closes her eyes, she can still taste the cornbread. Sweet, soft, made with care. Offered across a divide that shouldn't exist, but does, permanent as scars and just as much a part of being alive. Some encounters change what we think about the enemy. The rest of our lives shows us they were never as distant as we convinced ourselves. They were always just people, hungry, frightened, trying to survive with whatever honor they could salvage from a world determined to steal it. Elena doesn't have answers. She only has herself, split, flawed, choosing imperfectly, but choosing. And in a land where so many have choices stolen, that's something. It's not redemption. It's not victory. It's just the small, difficult work of being human, when humanity is the hardest thing to hold on to. The road south is long. She has time to learn its curves, time to build something new from the broken pieces of everything she was before. If stories of humans caught between worlds resonate with you, if you believe that belonging is something we build rather than something we're given, consider staying with these narratives. These memories are too delicate to disappear.